Hi everybody, trademark attorney Josh Gerben. I'd like to talk to you about 3 very important things you should be doing once your trademark is registered. So when you receive the trademark registration certificate from the USPTO, you may now start to use the circled R registered trademark symbol. Before your registration is granted, you are only allowed to use the small capital letters TM or SM next to your trademark. Depending on if it was a product, you would be using TM, and if it was a service offering, you'd be using SM for service mark. But now that your trademark is registered, you can begin using the circled R. This could go on the packaging for your goods, it can go on your website, anywhere you're using your mark, you can now use the circled R, and this puts folks on notice that you have a federally registered trademark, and if they infringe upon it, there may be significant damages. So the second thing that you need to do once your trademark is registered is monitor the USPTO database for any same or similar trademarks that may be filed by third parties. You should also monitor the marketplace for any use of your trademark that is illegitimate. So the most important part of this is ensuring that other folks are not filing trademarks that are similar to yours and getting approval at the USPTO. The more trademarks that are filed that are similar to yours and ultimately get registered will erode at the rights that your trademark enjoys. So if you have a registration and there's nothing even close to you on the Federal Register as far as similarities are concerned, if someone does infringe on your trademark, when you go to sue them or you send them a cease and desist letter, they're going to have very limited, if any, defense to the infringement. But if there are a half a dozen other trademarks that are very similar to yours that somehow got through and approved by the USPTO, the person that you send the cease and desist letter to or sue in court is going to be able to use those other similar third-party registrations as a defense. They're going to say, hey, look, we're not the only one using a similar trademark, and there's all these folks that have been coexisting in the marketplace for some time. And so that's a very good defense to an infringement claim. But by monitoring the Trademark Office database, you can ensure that if somebody does get an approval on a trademark that's too similar to yours, you would have time to oppose it within a 30-day window of opposition that the Trademark Office provides on any trademark application. Now, the other part of this monitoring is ensuring that you're watching the marketplace and people aren't just using your name. Sometimes people will start a business or they'll start offering products. They may not even know that they're infringing on your trademark or using your trademark. But by doing Google searches, having Google alerts set up, and just doing a deep dive in the marketplace on places like Amazon and Etsy and all these other places, you'll know if somebody's infringing on your trademark and then can take appropriate action from there. Now, the one thing to be careful about before you take any action, whether it's from the monitoring of the trademark databases or what you see in the marketplace, is you should always seek the advice of legal counsel before sending a cease and desist letter and, of course, filing a lawsuit in federal court. Now, I know this seems extremely self-serving coming from an attorney, but the thing that you have to be careful about is you may not have the right to send that letter. For example, let's say somebody else had started using the trademark before you in the marketplace, and you just never really found it until your registration was issued and you started doing some monitoring. Well, if you send them a cease and desist letter, they could respond by petitioning to cancel your registration on grounds of prior use, and maybe even flip the tables on you completely and ask you not to use your trademark. So it's really important to get a good lawyer to review any case and ensure that the legal action you're about to take is appropriate, even if you have a federally registered trademark. A federally registered trademark simply does not provide you a shield of immunity and the ability to absolutely enforce the trademark. There's always ands, ifs, or buts in the area of any legal dispute, and you need to be very careful before you take action. And the final and third point you need to be aware of once your trademark has registered is that you need to file renewals periodically with the USPTO to keep the registration active. The first renewal is going to be due between the 5th and 6th year of your registration date. So if your trademark registers on January 5th, 2020, your first renewal will be due between January 5th, 2025 and January 5th, 2026. Then you will have another renewal due between the 9th and 10th year of ownership. So this would be between January 2029 and 2030. And then it's every 10 years after that. So just keep in mind, these renewals are pretty spaced out and easy to forget. 5 years is a long time. So when you get the registration, very good idea to put on an internal calendar when that renewal is going to be due. Even if you have an attorney like us watching the registration for you, it's always a good idea to make sure you have it noted on an internal calendar, because anything can happen in 5 years. Your email address changes, you move, whatever happens, you forget to notify your attorney, and you might not get the notice that the renewal is due. So just make sure you're tracking that yourself. Very important to ensure that renewals are filed timely. The trademark office, if you missed a deadline, they're just like, I'm sorry. They're not going to reissue your registration. You're going to have to reapply for the trademark and go back through the whole process again and face the prospect that you might have a denial, depending on a number of reasons. So keeping the registrations active, making sure the renewals are timely filed is incredibly important. So I hope you found this video helpful. As you can see, getting a trademark registered is just the beginning of the process. You need to care for a registration and make sure that people are not infringing on it, and you need to make sure you're keeping up with any renewals that are due. If you have any further questions about your trademark, please feel free to give us a call.